But because Disney is completely woke, we're not the only ones who noticed it. The people at South Park did too.
This is no ordinary apple, my dear.
Oh, from you? Spare me your white savior complex. I don't need anything from someone like you.
Rachel Zegler woke up to a tidal wave of memes, reaction clips, and gleeful commentary after South Park's newest episode aired, and insiders say she was absolutely mortified.
So South Park did an episode about Disney in which they deconstructed the fact that every Disney movie has now flipped over into just being a woke festival of stupid.
The animated series unleashed a scathing spoof that turned the ongoing Snow White controversy into primetime comedy gold, and within minutes, the internet had carved her likeness into an exaggerated diva who sneers at the 1937 classic and lectures coworkers about saving society.
Now, tell me exactly what it is you're afraid of.
I keep having the same dream. Everywhere I look, people are being replaced.
Okay, and who do you think is going to have you replaced?
Them. The puppet masters.
Rumor has it Zegler's phone blew up with frantic messages from friends and team members begging her not to post anything emotional. Those same sources claim she burst into tears, insisting the parody crossed a personal line, and then spent the next several hours angrily pacing her apartment while her publicist tried to keep her offline. For a star already battered by months of negative press, the South Park roast felt like a public spanking, one that cemented her as Hollywood's newest punchline.
I didn't mean to offend. I just thought you should know that
That I should know what? That some privileged white guy thinks his opinion matters?
Disney executives reportedly went into panic mode as soon as the clip started trending. They were already juggling flops, from Marvel misfires to a messy Daredevil relaunch, and now the studio's most expensive live-action remake in years had become late-night fodder. Leadership under Bob Iger allegedly convened an emergency call at dawn to decide whether to issue any response. The verdict was silence. Any public pushback would only feed the South Park machine.
Hey, Eric, you want to see what my mom packed me for lunch? And that's when I start to notice that something's wrong. Everyone I cared about has been systematically replaced. And finally, I want to scream, and I'm like, why are they replacing every single character with someone who is diverse?
Meanwhile, social media exploded with side-by-side comparisons of the cartoon rant and Zegler's real-life interviews. Viewers who had only vaguely followed the Snow White drama suddenly devoured every old quote, concluding the parody hadn't exaggerated much at all. By midday, hashtags pairing her name with words like fiasco and ego trended worldwide. Privately, Zegler is said to believe the parody will overshadow whatever artistic merit the film might still possess. She'd already watched talk show bookings evaporate after her stalker Prince remarks, and her pro-Palestine tweet attached to a Snow White trailer.
But then Kenny's like, it's not our fault, it's because of Kathleen Kennedy. But then Kathleen Kennedy says like, make it more lame. And everyone in town is like, no, please, Kathleen Kennedy, stop ruining everything.
The studio quietly pulled her from multiple press events, citing scheduling conflicts, but insiders admit they were terrified of more viral sound bites. That muzzle fueled tension. Zegler felt abandoned by the company that once championed her as the face of modern Disney princesses. Now seeing herself lampooned as a shrieking caricature on South Park, she reportedly told friends it was proof Disney had failed to protect her reputation. One confidant says she used the word humiliated repeatedly and blamed corporate indecision for turning her into a target.
And the Disney stock just keeps going down and down and down. And then Bob Iger is all like, no, what's going on with my stock? No, Kathleen Kennedy.
The parody's harshest beat shows cartoon Zegler storming into a boardroom and berating everyone for caring about dwarfs, love stories, or tradition. Viewers immediately clipped the scene and matched it to her real-world statement that Snow White isn't dreaming about true love. Comment threads lit up with "she said the quiet part out loud" and gifs of the animated meltdown, replaced earlier memes of her empty theater visit. Some fans who'd previously defended her modern stance admitted the satire captured how preachy the rollout had felt. Others doubled down, arguing South Park trivialized important conversations about representation.
No, make it more lame. That is exactly what they're doing. And that is why we hate the diversity, equity, and inclusion casting and writing in movies.
Zegler's own reaction remained off-grid. Disney's PR team, rumor says, begged her not to tweet through the pain. South Park's creators are notorious for sparing no one, but the speed at which their spoof penetrated mainstream feeds shocked even industry veterans. Analysts noted how quickly box office predictions dipped further once casual audiences. realized the remake had become a laughingstock. Ticketing sites showed another dip in pre-sales within 24 hours of the episode. Retailers slashed Snow White merchandise prices again, wary of stocking dolls tied to a character's social media now associated with arrogance. Executives had hoped the second-week slump would stabilize. Instead, they watched it accelerate.
Is there a problem, people?
We were just discussing ideas of what to do with the new Prince Eric movie.
Gal Gadot, Zegler's co-star, maintained radio silence, though observers noted she liked a neutral tweet about not feeding trolls, a move many interpreted as a subtle distancing. Their rumored friction, already fueled by political differences, now feels baked into the public narrative, especially after South Park's cartoon version of Snow White snubs an evil queen stand-in.
Magic wishing apple.
A wishing apple?
Yes, one bite and all your dreams will come true.
Meanwhile, Andrew Burnap, cast as a love interest whose role was allegedly gutted after Zegler's comments, found himself trending again as fans debated whether his character even survives the final cut. He has stayed gracious, yet friends whisper he's crushed that what could have been a breakout part is now overshadowed by an avalanche of memes. Internally, some Disney staffers sympathize with Zegler, insisting she only echoed talking points. Handed down during early marketing meetings, they recall memos urging the cast to highlight modern leadership and independence from romantic rescue. Those same employees now watch Leadership pivot, blaming the actress for going off script. Others argue she amplified the message far beyond corporate intent, undermining nostalgia.
Maybe we should go a different route than we did with Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, put a chicken in and make her name it gay!
Whatever the truth, the public sees only the final spectacle. An actress hammered from every angle, a studio ducking behind silence, and South Park cackling as the entire saga becomes cartoon canon. The show's writers didn't spare Disney either. Their fictional executives scuttled through corridors, clutching spreadsheets of diversity metrics while box office numbers crashed, an image many viewers felt wasn't far from reality. For Bob Iger, already under pressure to prove Disney can still deliver cultural juggernauts, the skit's viral reach is a nightmare.
Where the f*** is Bob Iger?
Mr. Iger just had to take some of the others to a screening.
I think that things are being kept from me. And if you're going to keep things from me, then you'd better put a chicken in and make it f***ing gay.
Every headline about the parody renews questions about the studio's broader remake strategy. Investors grumble that brand trust erodes each time a beloved property becomes a culture war battlefield. The company now faces the risk that any future adaptation, no matter how cautiously handled, will be met with skepticism. Zegler's legal team reportedly floated the idea of a defamation complaint when the parody first trended, but Disney lawyers, according to whispers, reminded them that satire is ironclad protected speech. Even if she could sue, doing so would cement the image that she can't take criticism. Advisors allegedly urged her to let the news cycle move on, but she remains furious that her voice is being stolen by a cartoon. One insider claims she vented that the show reduced complex points about representation to a shrill caricature, then accused Disney of failing to defend her against misogynistic mockery.
Sit down, boys. One of our students here says you've been treating them unfairly.
Treating who unfairly? We didn't do anything. We're just minding our own business and she keeps saying she's Eric Cartman.
Okay, and what's wrong with that?
The studio, focused on damage control, sees no upside in picking a fight with a comedy institution. Meanwhile, fans who once anticipated the remake for its glossy visuals now openly wonder if Disney will quietly shelve it on streaming after a token theatrical run. Rumor has it test audiences still find the tonal mix awkward, whimsical forest creatures juxtaposed with pointed lectures about empowerment. The dwarfs' controversy remains unresolved. Leaked stills of the CG replacements continue to circulate, with mocking captions. One thread joked that even South Park's crude animation looked more charming. That jab, petty or not, reveals how deeply the parody colored perception. When people imagine Snow White 2025 now, they picture cardboard sets and a heroine who scolds everyone for loving a fairy tale.
What's wrong is it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, I see. There's a diverse female where Cartman used to be and you don't like that.
It's not that we don't like it, don't you think that's weird?
I don't see a problem with it at all. And if you boys don't think Eric can be a black woman, then maybe the problem is you.
Yeah.
Zegler supporters attempt to rally hashtags defending her ambition to modernize. They argue that progress often meets backlash and that comedic mockery has always been weaponized against outspoken women. Some cite earlier South Park episodes that ridiculed male stars who later recovered, yet momentum remains against her. The empty theater clip still trends whenever new footage drops. Journalists dig up each canceled appearance, noting patterns, a late-night spot axed, a magazine cover rescheduled, a Disneyland musical showcase quietly forgotten. Every absence fuels the perception Disney is hiding its star. As the release window closes, speculation swirls that executives will re-edit trailers, emphasizing Godot's villain and stunning visual effects while trimming Zegler's dialogue. If true, that would be an extraordinary pivot, minimizing the lead to avoid provoking audiences who now associate her with scorn. Marketing professors already discussed the fiasco in lectures about brand misalignment, how one actress's comments, magnified by algorithms and late-night satire, can derail a $250 million enterprise.
I saw the Panderstone for the first time a few years ago. Bob Iger took us to the Disney archives and showed us an ancient piece of artificial intelligence that could be used to make the same movies over and over again while appealing to absolutely everyone.
Through it all, Zegler's silence becomes its own headline. She has posted only vague motivational quotes, liked a few supportive messages, and avoided interviews. Friends say she oscillates between anger and despair, convinced no matter what she says, the internet will twist it. They also say she hopes time will eventually shift focus to the movie's craft. Sets, costumes, Godot's performance, so her role is judged fairly. But with South Park's parody preserved forever on streaming platforms, the cartoon meltdown may outlive the film's theatrical run. For Disney, the episode is a brutal reminder that controlling narrative is nearly impossible once satire pounces. The studio has weathered spoofs before, but rarely has a parody arrived while a film's marketing was already teetering. Executives now grapple with whether to dial back other in-production remakes, fearing the next casting announcement could become a punchline.
The Panderstone worked great for a while, but then came the hate mail. Ugly letters from racists who couldn't stand that some of the Panderstone's rehashes had diverse women characters in the lead. I decided I would show them. I would start making movies to fight all the bigotry in our society. But instead of doing any real work, I turned to the Panderstone. It made things so much easier. Soon I was using the Panderstone over and over again to try and fight all the ugly feedback, which in turn was growing stronger and stronger.
Some insiders hint at a pause on high-profile updates until the Snow White dust settles. Others argue the company must push forward, but with stricter messaging guidelines and deeper respect for what fans cherish. Industry watchers predict the fallout could shape how future stars approach press tours. Publicists will caution clients that every soundbite can be memed, every stance can become an animated caricature. And for Zegler personally, the path to redemption may require a project far removed from corporate franchises, perhaps a raw indie role that lets audiences see her without Disney's branding. She remains undeniably talented, but the public may need distance from the spectacle to appreciate her craft again.
But I was fighting with the wrong tool. I used the Panderstone to the point that it became unstable. It opened a portal to multiple universes and something came through. At first we fought. I tried to send it back to its universe, but it got the upper hand. It was able instead to send me to this universe, out of its way so it could thrive in ours.
That's actually the best explanation I've heard as to why Disney movies all suck now.
Whether Snow White 2025 ultimately finds an audience or collapses entirely, the South Park parody has locked in a legacy. Rachel Zegler, once hailed as Disney's next great princess, became the face of a remake gone off the rails, and her tearful, outraged reaction to an animated roast cemented that image. In an age where memes outlive movies, one savage cartoon sequence may overshadow every note she sang, every scene she filmed. Time will tell if she can rewrite that narrative, or if this brutal punchline becomes the tale's final moral. If you've got thoughts on South Park's takedown or Disney's response, drop them in the comments. Hit like if you enjoy these deep dives, and don't forget to subscribe for more behind-the-scenes drama. And if you want to see how another blockbuster spiraled into chaos, stick around for the next video now playing.